Hey everybody, this is Emily Duplessis with Daily Lesson Plan, and thank you so much for downloading our free 140 plus book list for summer reading if you're planning to implement it. If you haven't, or if you didn't actually download it and you kind of stumbled onto this video, there's going to be a link below. We have a list of over 140 plus fiction and nonfiction books for you to implement in your middle school grades 6, 7, and 8. You probably could even maybe swing this with ninth grade as well. But we have a list for you so you can download it right below this video here in a minute. But I don't want to take a lot of your time. What I want to do here is, if you've downloaded that opt-in and are liking what you're seeing, we've put together a complete summer reading program for you to implement to your students here in the last coming weeks of school for this summer. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to scroll through the actual summer reading plan that we have created for you. So you can see here, if you do choose to purchase this, it will start off with just kind of our icon and logo, and it goes into the table of contents. And here you can see that we have background information and objectives. We've got things broken down into teacher materials and student materials and suggested book lists. So that's going to tell you where everything is in this complete summer reading program. It starts off with some background and some rationale behind what the purpose of this project is for, and how we came up with it, and the importance of choice. Anybody who has been up to date with education theory in the last probably 10 years or so knows that a lot of it is centered around choice, and this project is completely centered around student choice. We want students to become autonomous learners and take control of their learning. Then you can see that there are a list of objectives. Those objectives are based off of Common Core standards, and it moves right into grades 7 and 8 Common Core standards. Now, I know in a lot of states in the country, but not all of them, because I taught for a little while in a state that didn't follow Common Core. But this project is completely aligned to the Common Core standards that exist here in the United States. So you can definitely, if your state or your school system subscribes to that, then that's great. And if not, most of the Common Core standards, at least from my own experience, are very similar to the standards that are in some of the states that haven't adopted it. So in most cases, they're going to be pretty similar to the ones that you may have in your school or district or county. Then we move into teacher materials, and here it starts off with just a step-by-step, 9 steps of how to actually implement this project. Now, this project is where students are choosing a big question, and that big question is more than just kind of a literary term or things like that. Kids are choosing a big question that they can relate to life. And they choose to explore this question through a piece of fiction, a piece of nonfiction, and then their own personal choice text, whether that's a song or a poem or a news article, whatever that extra artifact is or text is, students have that choice. And so this breakdown takes you, the teacher or the instructor, step by step into how to implement this successfully. Then it goes into explaining the different final products. This program focuses on 3 different final products. One of the things that's crazy, I was recently at a workshop and they were talking about summer reading specifically, and they were talking about how most kids really don't enjoy it, and most kids associate, a book project or a written summary of the book with summer reading, and that's one of the reasons why they don't enjoy it. And so these 3 assessment methods are really here to try and engage students and get students to look past kind of that basic book report or that summary of a story. And so you can find out tons of information with these 3 assessment methods. They're pulling in technology, they're pulling in personal connections, and that's really what it's all about. Then it moves into guides for you, the teacher, the instructor, how to implement some of these assessments throughout the summer. Because again, this program is implemented when you're not seeing students. And so all of that information is there for you. Then we move into student materials. This stuff you could print off right now in the PDF version, turn around tomorrow and hand it out to students. It is ready to go. This big question project is based off of 9 big questions. Here are the questions that you're having students choose from. These questions are things that are relatable to them in some way or another at their stage in life in grade 6, 7, 8, and maybe even 9. Then we move into some of the other handouts. When I've implemented this project or adaptations of this project, I've always started with students picking multiple big questions. This is just kind of a tip for you if you do decide to go down this road of buying this product and implementing it yourself. The first year that I did it, I had them choose one question right off the bat, and then as we got weeks or months into whatever the project was at that time, I've adapted this so many times over the last 5 or 6 years, that students ended up finding new questions halfway through their process because they didn't really think it through to begin with. So I switched then a couple of years ago to having them choose a couple of questions in the beginning, then free write about them, think about them, and really see if there's a question there that they feel that they can really explore or discover. Next, we move into some planning. There's some brainstorming sheets here that are ready for students. Then it moves into the actual brainstorming that they do while they are reading. And these are very similar to a double entry journal. You can see they're pulling out quotes and passages on one side and they're reflecting on it on the other side. One of the things that you can do depending on your assessment method is have students complete these as they're reading throughout the course of the year. And then when they come back in August or September, whenever your school year starts, you can collect all of these things then. So you could have them keep them in a folder and collect them when they come back in the beginning of the school year. Then we move into, if they do decide to do the paper, which is like essentially an iSearch paper, there's a breakdown for that. If you decide to use the class wiki, here is a handout you can print and hand out to students. All you have to do is input your due dates. Okay, but everything else is here and tells the students exactly what they need to do. And then if you choose to use the discussion circle method, all of the information for students is here for them to think about how to prepare for those so that they are successful. Then we move into the suggested reading list, and this could be something that you opted in for and you were able to get this free, but this goes and breaks down each question and gives you choices for fiction, choices for nonfiction, and then again we want to pull in that third artifact where we let students go and choose some other text, modern day text. In today's world, we use text to talk about so much more than just books. But there's a list, and you've got over 140 books that are listed on here that students can choose from. And the biggest thing that I have to say about this is we have a lot of really great books, a lot of books on here that I know students have read and liked. But when this all comes down to choice, if students find books, and when I've done this, I've never made students have to choose something from this list. If they've been able to go out and find a book that seems like it's going to relate to that big question, I have them simply maybe print off a summary of the book online, or they have to tell me about it. And if I can see that connection between the book and the big question, then it's totally okay. Because at the end of the day, we want our kids to be reading things that they are interested in. Okay, we want them to be invested. So I hope that this has helped. This video has helped you to kind of see what is actually in this product. Like I've said, I've used this product or this assessment or this big question project in so many different ways over the last 6 years. And each time, I've molded it and adapted it. And, at the end of the day, the kids really have enjoyed exploring this big question because they're choosing questions that they connect to, that they relate to, that are important to them. And then they get to explore that through all of these different texts. And it can be very, very powerful. So I hope that if you do decide, to purchase this, that you use it here in the coming summer and that your students have a lot of success with it. And I look forward to hearing about how it goes with your students and hopefully the successes that they have while using this product. So until next time, happy teaching.